Hello again. I told my friends recently and some of my peeps, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I feel like if I keep saying that long enough or enough times, then the good times will happen more often than the bad. That's how affirmations work, but that's one of mine, y'all. Here for a good time, not a long time. I said, I think it was some months ago or maybe last year on one of my videos. I said, if if it is in my destiny to live to be 100 years old, I don't think I'm gonna be super thrilled about that. And at the time, I wasn't even having a bad time. It was just challenge after challenge, and I usually love love a good challenge, especially if I'm bored. But that's not the kind of challenges I'm talking about. Talk about the type of challenges you wonder, okay, nobody gave me an instruction manual, taught me how to do this, how to transverse this, how to transmute this. I got to figure this out by myself. Ain't nobody else around understand the situation because they ain't never been any kind of challenge. I have enough of those. But one thing I will say, and you can have it if you like it, every challenge we didn't face up until now, we've survived and it was all right. I was saying the other day, you ain't got no choice but to be all right. You're either gonna be all right or you're not gonna be all right. And the only not all right you are in this dimension at this time in this reality is that you no longer exist. Outside of that, you're gonna be all right. And all right is relative. I know. Sometimes all right looks like you got a roof over your head and some food in your stomach. Sometimes all right look like I got some water today that's clean and somewhere to sleep. May not be mine, but I got somewhere. Sometimes all right look like you got a job even though you were looking for a long time. You finally got one even though you ain't trying to work like that. All right, again, it's relative. I would like to think that we all find our sense of solace and peace in something. And right now for me is I'm here for a good time, not a long time. But also I know I got to work. Everybody got to work to keep the lights on, food in your belly, and all those things. I don't super love that, but it's what it is. But part of the challenges, if you're one of those folks that have those challenges, is sometimes I do the work and there's no monetary gain from it. There's just the satisfaction of knowing that I did a good job, the satisfaction of knowing that I have pushed the ball forward for myself or someone else towards a goal. And that's the challenges that sometimes, like I said, I get the solace out of it, but also there are days I'm like, what a paycheck at? But I also know if I make that, and I'm going somewhere with this, so just bear with me. If I make that the biggest thing that is of import in my life, then I will be always chasing it. A well balanced life includes other goals and aspirations other than the bag. Now, I do understand that there are certain situations in which life will be easier, grander, more relaxing. You have more space for peace or adding joy to your life when you are financially stable. Getting there is a challenge. Once you've hit that marker of basic financial stability, I encourage you to add some joy in other ways to your life. Even if you gotta do it for free 99, because I do it all the time for free 99. Now I do sometimes, like right now, I really do want somebody to take care of these claws when I have time, money, and energy to go do that. Because my claws are breaking and they need a little something on them every now and again because I be in here cleaning and washing dishes and whatnot. So they can get a little chipped and all that. But that's not a need. That's a want. But part of our wants can be our needs. It makes me feel better when I have that done. It makes me feel zen and peaceful sometimes when I have somebody massaging these wrists and these hands because my wrists have troubled me for a very, very long time. It's troubled me since I was a very young person. And I've worked very, very hard in this life. It didn't make it no better. I even went and got the surgery to release the tension because it was so tense. It was making my entire arm up until my shoulder numb, both wrists. And I don't know, we make plans and God laughs, as they say. It's a very simple procedure. Mine went completely awry. It's like, it felt almost like I said, I want to be able to use my wrist feet freely. And the universe, whatever's out there, said, no, that's yours to bear. You can't have it. Because I had my auntie plus my neighbor and all kind of people talk about how great the surgery was to release the tension in their wrists. And they got up in there and they was like, we don't know what happened. That usually happens every single time I try to fix something with this vessel. It's like, can't mess with it. It is as it is. You can't mess with it because it's not going to do what you think it's going to do. I woke up, my entire shoulder and all were more numb than it ever been. I never got the full feeling back in my fingers. And it didn't fix the problem. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and not do the other wrist and just go ahead and live life this way. That's one of the reasons why I procrastinate on doing this here hair. I can still do it, which is a blessing. Count knows, right? I can still do it. I just can't do it as neat and as fast paced as some of your professional braiders or long-term braiders can do, even though I'm a long-term braider. But I count the blessing in the fact that I can do it. And I realize there are things I need and things I want, and there's a difference between the two. But I also don't beat myself up for the things that I want. Do you hear me? The things that you want, that you feel like will bring some satisfaction and happiness to your life and take from no one. It's okay to have those wants. It's okay to try to manifest those wants and desires. But you also have to consider and understand, if you want something and somebody else is in a position to have it, ain't no need for envy or greed. Just get an equivalent for yourself. Or figure out where your lane is so you can get something different or better for yourself. Excuse me. I hope y'all didn't hear that. But I'm not starting this video over because y'all know once I get a thought, and I've told y'all, once I get a thought, I come sit down somewhere and I either write it down in my notebook or I come talk. I've done this many times and deleted the videos over the years because I'll be honest with you, it's not that important to me to sit here and be online and doing all kinds of things here. You know what's important to me? If y'all want to know a little insight, having good friends that I can trust, a great conversation, being able to be physical with my body, dancing, walking, other stuff, listening to good music, being able to hold my Ami's my little grandbaby, being able to hug on her every week, and by lieu of that, be there for my kid. Love, real love, romance. That's it, dancing. And anyone who trusts me enough to sit and talk with me, help them in some way. It's one of my favorite things. So if I sit down with somebody, talk to them for a while, I see them improve in some way. Because of something I said, or something we joined together and talked about. Because in that, I see reciprocity. I've told you before, I heal me as I speak. Especially if someone's getting something out of it, it heals some part of me. And I don't know how to explain that no other way. Other than, even though I spent a lot of days wishing I had that long ago, I think because I didn't have that and I had to learn things the hard way and over again sometimes, because I'm hard-headed, y'all. And things that I figured out how to master. There's no point in having knowledge if you can't share it, in my opinion. And if you're going to share knowledge through the work and toil of your own labor to gain that knowledge, there should be some kind of reciprocity and payment. And for me, the biggest payment, now we like money. Everybody likes money. I know I do too. But in lieu of that, I enjoy that concept and idea that someone has gotten something from that toil and labor that I've already done. And I can sit with it here, like money in the bank. So if I encounter someone at the grocery store, from sitting down listening to music, hanging out with folks, just to have leisure time, and I encounter someone who seems like they could use some of what's in this bank, I volunteered to them. But first I ask. That's important. See, as I was mastering self, so as to realize that sometimes you don't need to be volunteering information. Sometimes you just give it out as needed or as asked, which is very important. Because sometimes when somebody going through something difficult, they don't always need your advisement. Sometimes they just need you to sit there and be quiet and comfort. And sometimes they just need you to sit there and be quiet and listen. Sometimes they just need a really good hug. Let me tell y'all, side street, the art of the best hugs. So you can show you know, I don't know about y'all, but I had a grandpa and uncles that would tell me about giving good handshakes. And to this day, I always get compliments on my handshakes because of the things that they told me. You put your hand out, make sure your fingers are even, you see. You reach for it halfway between both bodies and let the other person go the other halfway. You don't go straight to somebody's body in their space. You allow them to come to you, then you grip their hand at a 45, hold it firmly, not to hurt them, and then shake. But you look at them in the eye when you hold that hand firmly and thank them for their time. You're thinking about, okay, I'm initiating contact with this human being because of whatever reason we're initiating contact. I want to show them through my actions that I appreciate their presence. And that's why we think through the handshake. Okay? I've never gotten any complaints and I've gotten nothing but compliments on my handshake because somebody taught me that. So y'all can have it if you like it. Now, the art of the hug. You feel like somebody could use a hug, always ask, especially if you're not familiar with that person. Okay? Would you like a hug? Is it okay if I give you a hug? And when I first meet somebody, I'm a hugger, child. When I first meet, I'm a hugger. Is it okay if I hug you? I asked the first time, second time, I'll just put my arms out, let them come to me, right? But sometimes the first time, depends on the circumstances and the vibe that's going on. You kind of got to read that, But I recommend you asking. But put your arms out as wide as you can and arc it around yourself, allowing for space for them to come into you. And I know sometimes that's a little impatient, but same thing with the handshake. You go halfway between y'all two and let that person come to you. But once they do, though, treat it like the handshake, honey. Think about that hug. Wrap your arms around them and squeeze a little bit. Take some breaths, a couple breaths in and out. Don't just, and then go. No, a real hug is an embrace, love bugs. It's an embrace. You hug with your heart, but your body's doing the work, right? Imagine the same, those who are meditators and prayers, right? Imagine that same white light you use in your mind to heal you, surrounding yourself and that person in that embrace. Then you release. They're going to feel it. Our energy spreads out. We didn't talk about our energy going beyond us. And a hug is one of the best ways you can give love to another person that is not a romantic partner or your child. Okay? Even with those people, a hug is the best way to exchange without words that I love you. I want you to feel good in this moment. And if you're going through something, I would like you to heal. And I'm here to love you until you do. Okay? And y'all can take both of those if you like it. Give it a couple seconds. You ever had a limp handshake? Ugh. It feels like somebody giving me that been to the bathroom or done something in the bathroom and they got damp fingers or food on dishes, or you go in the sink and you're trying to clean up and it's all soggy. It gives me ick vibes. So try not to do that to nobody. Definitely, if you encounter me and we shake hands, don't do that to me, because it's gonna give me ick vibes, and it's gonna be an impression. It's a lasting impression. I don't know if you care about that. I do. I was taught to care. But I wasn't taught to care about the hug. It's just that I can't remember who it was. It was one of the lovely people on my road to here. It just came to my mind. That was this teacher at a school I went to called New Orleans School for Science and Mathematics. Now it's like a charter school, but it wasn't that before. When I was younger, it was a school for gifted kids in science. They were gifted in specifically science and math. That doesn't mean we didn't have behavioral problems, because I was one of them. Okay. My teacher saw me coming. Anyway, but it's also where I practice a lot of the things I've learned to do up until now. If that makes sense. Being mischievous and curious is how I learned. Okay. My poor teachers. Anyway, we had a school counselor. And this particular school, we only took science and mathematics, and we went to our home high schools after and took the rest of our classes. But just for science and math, we went to the local community college, had sectioned off an area just for us, and we were taking, upper level and science level. We call them AP classes now, but we were also taking college level courses as well outside of AP in this school. And I would get in trouble at least once a week. We had this school counselor that kind of saw right through a lot of that, where other teachers might have been intimidated by my behavior. This school counselor, her name was Dr. Dasher. She wasn't. She saw, it's like, you ever been around somebody, which I don't recommend this, we're going to go on a side street later. I can see their light, and you still give them love, support, and energy until that light comes forward. Well, she saw that in me. She's one of those people that encouraged me consistently. Okay. But Dr. Dasher would give some of the greatest hugs. It was the first time I had been hugged by somebody that held me for more than 2 seconds. But it wasn't in no creepy manner or nothing like that. She was like, good hug. Let's get a good hug, she would say. And she would almost lift me off my feet with the hug. And I felt the love coming from her. Anytime I had an issue, after a while, I actually trusted this human, which is very rare for me to trust someone with my issues or problems. I just deal with them myself and then keep it moving. Okay? I don't recommend that, but it's just something I had to do. Not everybody understood everything. There were some grown folks that hadn't been through some of the things I had been through, so they were lost of words so many times I just gave up on the child. But never, ever I would recommend, dismiss a loving presence in lieu of experience. Because although Dr. Dasher had not experienced the things I had experienced in my life up to that point, she understood that listening, being a good ear, and being supportive and loving in her words and actions did far more for me than her empathizing with me at that moment. That's why I think a very good counselor, a very good helping professional at any level of the game is better than zero things, because I've experienced it a time or two. But I think it was Dr. Dasher that gave me them good hugs and showed me how beneficial those were. Now, just because I told y'all yesterday, things are afoot. There are things going down. Doesn't mean that we can't still live in joy. I do believe that we can still live in joy and have some joy and bring some joy in all these things, even in challenge. I mentioned COVID a lot recently because, honestly, during that time, there's a lot of people who were having a hard time with the isolation and the fear and not knowing what was going to happen next, and grief and all these things. I'm not one who was saved from a lot of that. However, I did enjoy the solitude from time to time. I enjoyed things being not as hustle and bustle. I was kind of sad when things started like really picking up again, because I knew the things we saw with the oceans and the rivers and the animals revitalizing itself by proxy of us going to sit down somewhere was going to reverse itself. I was hoping not. I know we had a big chance to see our impact on the environment and each other. I think money dictates whether or not we're gonna actually align with understanding those things, and it has. It's born out to be that way. I think that's why we are where we are right now. That money dictated whether or not we were gonna go and fix some of that stuff and realize our impact and learn from it and do things differently. Money impacted that. That's why I say that money is not the most important thing, even though it's something that we need. It's not the most important thing to bring us something in this life. There must be other things that have value. Some of the things I've said: love, dance, music. Now, music, you require money to be able to buy instruments and all these things and create music. But you know, a long time ago in human history, long time ago in human history, we just make things and create music. There were things we made with our hands because there were skilled craftsmen that knew how to do that. Everything wasn't about the economy. But I'll tell you this. Go ahead, take that message about them good hugs. And being there to sit there and listen and love. Not just waiting for your turn to speak, though. The way you learn how to turn that voice off that's telling you need to respond is reminding yourself to stay present with that person. Remain present. And it's okay to lose a thought. Sometimes we get bogged down in the details, honey. It's okay to lose a thought, because if it's that important, it'll come back to you. But being present with a person that's sharing something with you that's intimate and personal is important. Like, recently I had a friend, a little falling out with an associate. Not really a friend, associate, friend-ish. Because I've realized over time, when that person talks to me, I'm listening. I'm hearing every detail and I'm responding based on the details I'm hearing. But whenever I talk to that person, it's within 3 minutes they're changing the subject back to themselves. And that is an upsetting thing to experience over and over again. So my little silly self, and I don't call it silly, this is me. I'm never going to give up on modeling behavior for someone who may have not ever experienced something. Because I don't know your life, and I'm not trying to dig into it, because I could, but I'm not going to. Okay? I never assume a person has ill intent until they continuously show me that's who they are, and then I believe them. Okay? But first things first, before I get to the point where I believe you, that's just who you are, darling, I accept this. I'd rather be your enemy to accept this, but accept it. But here's a little tip. Take it or leave if you want. If you realize someone's exhibiting behavior that is unbecoming or upsetting to you, express that you don't super love that behavior. Okay? But also, be within the behaviors that you realize are behavior that are universal behaviors that you give and take with someone in reciprocity. Model that behavior with them for a little while. Not a long while, but for a little while. And see if they improve in some way. We've talked about this before. And if they do not improve, not based on you instructing them, because a lot of people hard-headed like me, model the behavior and see what happens. Now, if they don't want to change how they behave and operate, then that's your answer. Go on about your business instead of exhausting yourself. I got to a point where I realized I had been venting about this person to different friends. I'm like, because I'm trying to get insights, because I'm always thinking I'm judging too harshly, because I can have a tendency to judge harshly when I am judging based on whether or not I'm in the presence of something safe or someone safe. Because sometimes I've had a tendency to judge very harshly. So because I know that about me, I'm going to talk to somebody I trust and say, hey, am I seeing this correctly? But for some reason, either those friends were busy or doing some other stuff or had their head somewhere else, where I really couldn't get advisement on that. So I had to go with my own judgment this time, y'all. And I had to examine things over time, and I realized whenever it got to a point where I questioned that person about their behavior, they would give me a gift or buy something from me or offer to do something for me. And I would take that as a sign that they are contrite. But in actuality, over time, I realized this person is not necessarily contrite. They want to make sure I stick around to be their friend when they're in times of loneliness or need someone to associate with, but they're not going to change the behavior, because if they were going to change the behavior would have been changed by now, or at least had some semblance that it was changing. I ain't got to learn the hard way no more, y'all. Like I said earlier, sometimes I get to a point where I see their light. I see they have potential to grow, and potential to grow is different. Potential does not mean energy and action. If they're not taking energy and action to actually grow that potential, it's just sitting there dormant. You spinning your wheels. And by you, I mean myself. I've done it. I'll admit to it. Spinning your wheels, expecting someone to be different than they choose to be. That's a choice. But yeah, we don't have to sit stuff like that. But we also don't need to make them our enemies. Doesn't mean they're gonna take it well. Honey, love, when I finally revealed how I was feeling to this person and how I had been feeling for quite some time, and I knew about a whole bunch of stuff that had happened that they didn't think I knew about. She was livid that I challenged her about those things. And I said, you know what? Even with those things, I love you. And she didn't believe you. How can you love me? I've already explained these things to you, and you don't believe me. So you can't love me. You never loved me. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll leave it there. She ain't my enemy, but I understand. Moving forward, I would say model the behavior. Give them good handshakes. Give them good hugs. But stay in alignment with you. You ain't got to be all that. Because I realized my fault in that too. I went along with it. I've done it before. It ain't my first rodeo. And like, no, but they're my friend. I want to see the best in them all the time. And dismissing. Ain't nobody ever had to really gaslight me. I can gaslight myself. I'm the best at gaslighting myself. Nah, that's not what's really happening. But then, absolutely, yes, that's what's really happening. My intuition told me a long time ago. I just sat there like, not necessarily a fool, but someone who's hopeful. And ain't nothing wrong with hope, y'all. I still got it for humanity, despite all the chances we've been given to make this planet healthier. After we didn't put as humanity, as humans, there's been disease and all kinds of chemicals and all kinds of things that mess with the environment so much so that it's changing drastically in ways that it hadn't changed in all of our history, in the known history. A lot of people like to say humans are the disease, but human beings have redeemable qualities. Now, when I tell y'all, I've told y'all before, I don't super love the socials like talking about it. I don't fit in. There is no word I fit in. But what I did enjoy, side street, what I did enjoy was confusing the algorithms. They could never pin me down. Now, what I don't super love at first, when I get on a social at first, they see my picture, it just starts showing me things that they think I would like based on my hair texture and my skin color. And I don't super love that, because like, what if I'm just into art? What if I just like seeing cute animal babies? What if that can be included too? But y'all, don't pigeonhole me. I don't like that. I know some people accept that the algorithm knows you. I never accepted that, and I never will. Because one day, I can be cool with one thing, and the next day, I want to see this random thing. Don't just feed me the thing that you think I like so I can stay on here. I don't like that. It feels like when you have a hamster in a cage, I don't know if they're recognized in the cage or what. Or an animal in a cage, no different than a zoo. And you're just feeding it and watering it, but doesn't have real life. It will feed you and water you so it can stay here and be my pet. I am nobody's pet. And that's what it feels like. the algorithms on the socials makes us into animals that are not sentient. Like, we figured out what you like to consume, so we're gonna keep giving you that so you stay here. There's no reason why I'm glad it bores me. It takes me less than 5 minutes before I'm bored. You're like, oh, you can't switch it up some? Bye. I'm good. Let me go do something else, like read a book or watch some sci-fi, go for a walk or talk to a friend or something. This is not living. And I'm on a social right now. I'm on the YouTube. But I'm saying something to you. I hope that has some merit to your daily life. I hope that what I say is, if not beneficial, entertaining. Like right now, I'm living my best life. Even if I have challenges within, I'm living my best life. Take that one too. I'm living my best life. I'm saying it to myself. See, I used to do all the vision boards and all that, and that's nice. But sometimes you're not in alignment with whatever is on your vision board. And I know some people think that they could just manifest anything in their life. Honey, that's not reality. As an Aquarius, I will co-sign being in the land of reality. It's okay to be delulu sometimes in a fun way, but being delulu saying that, you're going to be an astrophysicist and cool, you probably could do that, but everybody can't do that. Especially if you are beyond a certain point of education and learning. Okay? I say be delulu until you hit a point where you realize you need to have some reality-based manifestations. And my reality-based manifestation right now is very simple. I want to live a good life. I want to live a joyful life. I want to live a happy life, despite the challenges and the work I have to do. And one day, after I'm gone, I hope some of y'all, some folks, know the work I've done. While I'm here, I don't think so. I used to think I wanted that. Now I'm just like, child, just let me be. Let me be. I work better when people let me be. And it's better for my ego. And when I say better for my ego, I'm one of those people that'll be completely honest with you. I think for myself and others, but I'm just going to speak for me. Too much is given, much is expected, but there's also a caveat in there. Too much is given, much can be corrupted. And I have a choice between being well known and corruption. Going along with that potentially, I'm going to choose this every time. I know it's not always the choice for everybody, but I'd rather give away what could potentially be mine than be corrupted. And that's not me being holier than thou or anything like that. I've seen and tasted certain aspects of it and realized that some of it's good, but some of it's not good for you. It's like when there's this dish from this restaurant locally, and they closed. I think they're reopening in another location soon. I hope they do. Because they have the best lavender creme brulee. Creme brulee is one of my favorite desserts. Anyway, outside of a good bread pudding with some vanilla ice cream and caramel drizzle. Okay? But it was a lavender creme brulee. I was in heaven. Before I got to the creme brulee, y'all, they had this skillet. Personal size skillet. Cast iron skillet. They come out with some greens, some baked mac and cheese, and some brisket with brown gravy. Not barbecue, but brown gravy. Like, delicious, moist, perfect, and was all in the skillet. It would come out sizzling with the cheese all melting. My water, just think about it. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. I can enjoy that, right? I can enjoy that. But if I enjoy that every single day of my life, I'm going to have some health complications and problems. I'm going to have to eat some vegetables that's not drizzled in fat. I'm going to have to go for some walks and drink some water. I can't have creme brulee every day. Besides, I wouldn't appreciate it if I had it every day anyway. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I want to live my life with a whole bunch of joy, prosperity, and inner wealth. And a little bit of outer wealth, too. Ain't going to be no problem. I ain't going to have no problem with that. But just enough to keep me balanced in here and in here. That's it. I think that's probably why I feel the way that I feel about it. Now, I know I've been talking at y'all for a minute. If you don't take nothing else from what I said today, give them them good handshakes and them good hugs. Also, not for nothing, we're gonna take some time and understand that I've said so many things over time in a lot of the videos and the things that I've posted. And sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Even though I say these things to the people who have chosen to learn from me on a regular basis, I say them to you guys in a more elaborate way, and if to them in a more specific way that caters to their needs. I don't feel the need to continuously be preachy and telling you, wagging a finger and doing all that. I don't see the point at this particular juncture. I done said all that needs to be said. I done warned all that needs to be warned, and now I'm telling you. In my mind, I just got an image of, I think it was the second Men in Black. When that little alien was inside that face, it was like the light is here on Earth. In my mind, that's what I just got. Don't tell me why. Don't ask me why. But I did. Anyway, I'll talk at y'all again soon. You're loved.